Hi, did you plant tomato seeds in the winter like I did? Yours might be looking like this, like mine are. It's time to pot them up into larger pots because they've outgrown the cell that they're growing in these starter trays. So we're gonna walk through how to do that today. So I have with me a bucket of dirt. This actually is Organic Mechanics potting soil. You can use most any potting soil you have on hand. I like to choose something that does not have fertilizer in it so that I can control how much fertilizer I'm giving them. So here's what we're going to do. We have our tray with our seedlings. I tend to put 2 seeds in every cell, mostly just in the hopes that one will germinate if the other one doesn't. So I'm going to start by showing you how to separate if you did 2 in a cell. And if you did not, if you only have 1 plant in the cell, then you can skip this part of separating them. I'm going to pop this out. I use these nice trays which have silicone bottoms, which make it really easy to pop out the plants. I've had these for 4 or 5 years and they're still going strong, so that's great. So I've got my 2 seedlings in there, and I'm just going to gently use my fingers to pull them apart. Super easy. And we're going to plant each one separately. So I have a stack of these are leftover pots from the shop. You can use any leftover pots you have. You could also use milk cartons, those half-gallon jugs are a great size. Yogurt containers would work as well. For those things, you want to make sure that you put quite a few holes in the bottom so they will be able to drink up as much water and fertilizer as they can. If you're using the milk jug, the plastic milk jugs, a glue gun with a hot tip is really easy to punch holes through that material. So that's a little tip. So we're going to use this. I'm going to put just a little bit of soil in the bottom, really not much, just going to cover the bottom. And then one of the cool things about tomatoes is that they can grow roots along their entire stem. And we're going to use that to our advantage to help this plant have extra roots. So if you have a deeper pot, you can just drop it in and you're going to fill the soil up to the top. In my case, I sort of bent it a little so that I can get as much of the stem under the soil as I can to promote more root growth. Now you'll notice my little cotyledons, which are those first leaves that appear when your plant starts growing. They've pretty much done their job at this point, and they will yellow and fall off, or we can pull them off at this point. And if I had if this was deeper than some of the lower leaves, I could also cut those off as well. But I'm just going to pop these 2 off just to give me more room for root growth. And when I go to plant this plant outside in the garden, I will also bury it deep to get even more roots. And we'll talk about that later when it's time to plant them. So there you go. That is nice and deep, so it will grow roots along that whole section that is under the soil. So from here, what I'm going to do is put them in a tray. I'm using these black nursery trays, which I've had for many years. You can use anything that will hold water, maybe a metal roasting pan that you have left over from the holidays. I've seen people use Rubbermaid or those big plastic tubs. That's a great thing to use as well, as long as they're the lower variety. If they are too high, the plants won't get much air circulation, and that can be a recipe for fungal problems. So a couple last tips for this is that we need to label this. A lot of tomato varieties look the same. We won't know what this is, so I'm going to write them up a label. I keep these and use them over and over again. A little rubbing alcohol will take the permanent marker off. I'm a little lazy, so I tend to use both sides before I bother to clean them off. I'll cross out the one side, write the name on the other, and label it. And then at this point, we're going to start fertilizing these seedlings. So I'm using Fox Farm liquid organic fertilizer. This, I just add a half a teaspoon to a gallon watering jug, and I'm going to pour the water in the tray and let the plant drink it up from the bottom. You could continue to use something like this when we get our plants out to the garden. I prefer to switch to a granular fertilizer at that point, but you could use this for both as well. And that is potting up our tomatoes. Now I will point out that I also grew peppers and eggplants. They are still pretty small and don't need to be potted up yet. But when it is time to do that to those, I would use the same procedure, except that they will not grow roots along their stems, so I won't bury them deeper the way I did with the tomato. And we will see you in about 2 weeks to talk about hardening off our plants before putting them in the garden.